am back with another great video. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, so you already know why you're here. You clicked on the link. I hope the majority of the men who subscribe to my channel do not get grossed out by this video or skip it, as many of them are husbands. They have wives, sisters, daughters, nieces. So this is information that you can share with them and also just know what goes on in a woman's world. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about why I removed and how I removed my MIRENA IUD. Okay, so just to give you some background, I have my notes here. You'll see me looking down. I'm going to try to stay focused on you as much as I can. Okay, so starting off with why I got it. I actually had two. My first one, I got it because at the time I worked in patrol as a police officer, so it was times where I was on the street, and let's say I was working an accident, you know, and you can't just walk away from investigating the accident, or you're stuck at the jail with someone and you can't just walk away to go use the bathroom. You know, it was really difficult, and thank goodness my uniform was dark blue, you know, because I had a lot of accidents, a lot of messy accidents, and my cycle was really heavy. And so I decided to go ahead and get the MIRENA IUD after seeing the advertisements on TV that I could have shorter, lighter, and even no menstrual cycles. So I went ahead and got it done, and I had no complications. I thought I would need to take some time off from work. I got it done on one of my off days, and I was back at work my next scheduled day. No issues. I would say my cycle disappeared probably after 3 months, and it was gone. And at that time, the happiest thing I could do was that day when I think I gave it an extra 2 months to see if I have any spotting or anything like that. I didn't. So at the time, I was an extreme couponer. So it was so good to go and get all of the sanitary items that I had hoarded, you know, and I took them across the street to my neighbor's house because they had daughters, and also the mom over there. I'm like, hey, this is all for you. And they were so happy, you know, to receive all of these sanitary items, you know. Yeah, a few years passed after that. I had got married, and as it would happen, you know, I also thought too, you know, at the time I was not married. I just had my one son. I still have my one son, but you know, it was really important to me that, you know, I did not have another child unless I was married, you know. So I went ahead and got married. I'm like, okay, I was really excited to start family planning, and you know, just to have these things, you know, as being a new wife and hopefully a mom again. However, my marriage was trash. Yes, before you start congratulating and oh, yes, it was trash. So yeah, at that time too, I started coming into, we'll call it, for lack of a better word or whatever, my consciousness or my spiritual journey. And I wanted to come off of that birth control, the MIRENA IUD, and seek out something that did not introduce artificial hormones and stuff into my body. And I went to the doctor, explained things, and at that time I'd also started spotting. So we kind of figured that it wasn't placed right. I was like, something's going on. I'm still cramping. I'm spotting. This is an inconvenience. So we actually removed that first IUD, and then I was seeking out a more natural form of birth control. And so yeah, again, like I said, I realized that my marriage was trash, and I was really heartbroken because a lot of times you get married to come off of your birth control and to begin family planning. However, at that time I realized that, you know, that was a mistake, you know. So after, I will say, about 1.5 years, I went ahead and I got back on the second IUD because I figured that I realized that my marriage was trash and I did not want to bring any children into it. So I got the second one. And with the second IUD, I had a lot of issues. Oh my gosh, I had a cycle that would not stop. I'm sorry, that cycle went on and on and on. I think it was going solid for a good 3 months. And I was really heartbroken because during that time when I didn't have it, I was really taking care of my body. I was eating right, working out, just falling in love with being a woman all over again, you know. However, it was that devastating point where, you know, yeah, I don't get to plan my family. And during that time, after I had got the second IUD, I had to go to the ER, you know, because of some really bad abdominal pains and some other stuff going on. So I had ultrasound, different people looking at my personals, you know, to figure out what's going on. So it was quite embarrassing. And at that time too, I believe the universe just, you know, gets you in a place to make wise decisions. And at that time, I realized that I needed to get out of my marriage, and also too that I needed to see what could possibly happen to me. Like, here I am, you know, stopping a natural part of being a woman, the most beautiful thing about being a woman. And I was meeting different women who was having reproductive issues such as PCOS, endometriosis, miscarriages, you know, the infertility, a lot of things like that. And I was just feeling really bad because I'm like, wow, I really want to expand my family, but I just can't at this time. This is not going to happen. So as a result, I started becoming really numb. I became numb to a lot of reality, you know, just having basic emotions. I'm a really sensitive person, you know, in my day-to-day profession. I put my emotions on the back burner, but I still have that emotional side, and I still have that to where, you know, I love everything, love everybody. I can cry for anything. I'm very much an empath. I feel everybody else's emotions. I internalize it. And, you know, so yeah, that was just me. But at that time I was really numb. Like, little things did not excite me, or, you know, I just didn't care. And I knew that that was not myself. And then here's the thing, I really missed at that time I began calling it my moon time, my menstrual cycle. I missed it because that period I had of not having it, I began using like a tracker on my phone to know my fertile days, to know when it was coming, the changes, the symptoms, or the things that I was experiencing as a result of my different times throughout the month. I really missed that. I missed it so much. I miss that. When I miss the little things that my body would tell me, you know, like, hey, you are about to ovulate, or hey, these things are happening. My body would give me indicators, and that wasn't happening anymore. I just felt just like a shell, you know? And so I began reading different books by, I would say the first one was Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. And don't worry, I'll put the link for that book and any other products I mentioned in the description box. And I began following a beautiful, beautiful spirit on Facebook. Her name is Art Kathy. And she had a lot of good information about how to, she calls it your womb, how to clean up your womb, how to have a healthy reproductive system. And it just really began to fuel me, like, hey, I need to physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually just get to a better place. And as time would have it, you know, I was researching different things like that. And then also I started noticing throughout social media and people I know, like, these miracle babies became like a normal thing. There wasn't such thing as like, oh, here's just, I had a normal pregnancy and here's my normal baby. Everything had complications when it came to caring and bearing children. And I was like, wow, something isn't right. And I just got to a point where I did not want to contribute to that time when I am fortunate enough to be a mother again and bear children, to have issues, to have problems. And I just want to be kind and apologize to my body, and especially my reproductive system, and say I'm sorry for, you know, these things I introduced to it. As time would go on, I got out of my toxic marriage, and before it was officially over, I chose to remove my my IUD myself. I wanted to go to the doctor to get it done, and I actually had an appointment to go to the doctor to get it done. However, I was really paranoid, you know, about some other stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to go to that doctor's appointment. I'm just going to do it myself. And I chose to remove it on a new moon. And so as I've been connecting, you know, with my femininity, being a woman, embracing womanhood, you know, I've decided that I wanted to try to sync my body with the moon phases. They suggest that you remove it while you're ovulating because your cervix is open. However, I remember the first one when the physician removed it, I didn't even know she removed it. It was just like, okay, it's out, it's here. And so, with the diagrams that they had in the office, this is actually my IUD here. This is my IUD here. And when I saw the diagram or the model of it in the doctor's office, I'm like, okay, I know that it's gonna, when they place it, it goes, it have it in like something. When they put it in, it kind of opens up like bunny ears. And so I know when they go to remove it, it's nothing special. You know, I'm holding back, so you know, I'm like all up in my business, you know. So I know, you know, to remove it, here's the strings that hang out, and if you wear a tampon, you just pull it out the same way. So when it was time to take it out, like I inserted my fingers into, not looking like this, you know, I reached up into my vagina and I was trying to look for these strings because you're supposed to check your string placement every month. So I knew that they were a considerable amount out from my cervix. So I was trying to reach and grab them. However, I was only able to reach in and grab them like this. So once I got it, it was like, okay, you know, you have to make sure you got it and just pull. You don't have to like yank it out, but you just, you know, just pull. I did not feel any discomfort. I did not feel any pain or anything like that. You know, I just went ahead and just pulled it, and I knew that after it traveled from my my uterus, and then when it got to my cervix, you know, just kind of give it a little pull. So at that time, the strings were lower, and I was able to eventually reach in. I was able to like grab the bottom of the strings and, you know, just pull it right through. And next thing I know, it was out. And let me tell you, I think as it was coming through my cervix, I just felt just, I don't know, I feel like a release. I felt just, I'm free. And that really started my journey to healing and, like I said, just connecting with myself again and really being proud of myself that I removed myself out of a toxic situation. And it changed my view on, you know, birth control and things like that. I got this birth control because I was intimately involved with someone that I had no business being involved with. And if I'm gonna allow someone in my space, in my place that is so sacred, you know, I don't need that toxic person. I don't need to introduce that toxic person to myself. So at the current moment, no, I am not on birth control because I'm learning what it means to have that intimate connection. I'm learning what that means to have that emotional connection, and just feeling feelings all over again. It feels absolutely wonderful. So yeah, it's like you have to, if you have to use artificial means to stop something that is so natural and so beautiful, you might want to second guess doing those activities with that person or persons, you know, because these things here, you know, they have irreversible effects. And we're seeing a high rate of Black women with fibroids, with PCOS, endometriosis, and luckily enough, I mean, I thank the ancestors that I made it out of the military without any of those things. But you know, my fellow veteran sisters are experiencing these things, and it's not normal. You know, and I want to give honor to them. You know, the stuff they had to go through by respecting and taking care of what I have. So post removal rituals, like I said, I began tracking my moon time with my calendar. I'll put a screenshot and I'll put a link for you to download at the App Store. I also started taking herbs. I use this herb in English. It's called 4 Sustenance herbs. I ordered them from Amazon, And what it does is replenishes women after menstruation and also prior to it. And it's worked wonders. Like I said, you know, my cycle is beautiful. You know, I love connecting with myself. Like, and I changed my mindset. I changed my mind. You know, when I get my moon time, I cheer it on. Like, yes, I got it. You know, not because, you know, I'm happy I'm not pregnant, but it's like, yes, I welcome you. I love you. You're here. And then also, I do not use tampons or anything like that. I'm very cautious of what chemicals I introduce to my reproductive system. So I've begun using, I won't have it here on camera, but of course I've begun using the Diva Cup. I use a menstruation cup, and that's how, you know, I, you know, collect my menses and get through my moon time, which is absolutely beautiful. And it's not, my cycle is not heavy, it's not an inconvenience. I absolutely love it. So I'll put those books that I've read. I read Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. I had a sample, and I read The Angry Vagina by Queen Afua as well. I'll put that in the description. And then I'll also leave a link for Art Kathy, her Facebook page, and also her YouTube channel, as well as her book, a link to get her book and join her. And it's women, strong women like this who really open our eyes to embrace womanhood and just, you know, deprogram us from what, you know, the Western world teaches us about our menstrual cycles and our moon time, that, oh, it's the curse of Mother Nature, the curse of Eve, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, wow, it really programs you from a young age to just hate what naturally happens to your body and what is so beautiful. I love being a woman, and I love the things that my body was naturally, and I'll use this word a lot, but blessed with, you know, to show this world the beauty of being a woman. And I'm happy and honored to share that with you. If you just got an IUD, I also will link a group that I had joined when I got my second one and I had the complications. A lot of us have complications, so I'll put a link for that Facebook group so you get some support and things like that. But once again, I'll put this in here. This video does not give you permission to go out and do this. You know, I took my own calculated risk and I did it, and I don't regret it. I'm here to tell you about it, you know, so yes, make sure you consult a doctor before you do anything like that. Don't take this advice. I'm not a doctor, you know, go and consult with your physician, your OBGYN, and all kinds of other stuff, okay? But, yeah, this was the best thing I could have done, was remove this MIRENA IUD and take control of my reproductive health and things like that. So I welcome you to share this video, tag someone in it, leave me a comment, you know, all that good stuff, and make sure you check out the description box for the products that I mentioned as well, okay? I will see you again. We'll talk more, and I'm happy that you're here, and I say thank you to all my new subscribers and everyone who will subscribe as a result of seeing this video or any other videos on my channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and also join me on my other social media platforms. If you have any questions, leave them below. Welcome comments too. Until next time, I will see you.